I was sitting in my kitchen on a Tuesday morning. The kind of morning where the light comes through the window just right and makes everything look softer than it really is. I had my coffee in the blue mug Tom gave me on our 30th anniversary, and I was thinking about him. It had been 4 years since he passed, and some days the missing him felt like a stone in my chest, and other days, like that morning, it felt more like a warm blanket wrapped around my shoulders. The doorbell rang at exactly 10 o'clock. My daughter Sarah was always punctual. I smoothed down my blouse and checked my reflection in the hallway mirror before opening the door. I wanted to look nice. Isn't that funny? Even at 73, even with my own daughter, I still wanted to make a good impression. "Mom?" Sarah swept in with her usual energy, all perfume and designer handbag and clicking heels. Behind her came my son-in-law Brad, tall and handsome in his expensive suit, and my granddaughter Emma, who was glued to her phone as usual. "You look wonderful. Have you been doing something different with your hair?" I touched my hair self-consciously. "Just the same old wash and set at Gloria's salon." "Well, it looks great, doesn't it, Brad?" Brad barely glanced up from his own phone. "Yeah, looks good, Margaret." We settled in the living room, the same room where Tom and I had raised Sarah, where we'd celebrated every Christmas and birthday, where I'd rocked Sarah to sleep when she was a baby, and, years later, Emma, too. The house was full of memories, 38 years worth, every crack in the ceiling and stain on the carpet telling a story. "So," Sarah began, her voice bright and cheerful, "Emma has some exciting news." Emma finally looked up from her phone, and I saw something in her eyes I couldn't quite name. She was 23 now, my baby granddaughter, all grown up and working at some tech company in downtown Seattle. "I'm getting married, Grandma," Emma said softly. My heart lifted. "Oh, sweetheart, that's wonderful. Tell me about him." "His name is Josh. We've been together for 2 years. You met him at Christmas, remember?" I did remember. A nice young man, quiet, worked in software engineering. He'd helped me fix my computer when it froze up. I remember. He was very polite. "The wedding is going to be in June," Sarah cut in, pulling out her iPad with a flourish. "We've been doing so much planning. Emma wants it at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel, you know, downtown. It's going to be absolutely beautiful." She swiped through pictures of flower arrangements and table settings and elaborate cakes. My late husband Tom had been a high school math teacher, and I'd been a librarian. Our own wedding 49 years ago had been in a small church with a reception in the basement, with my aunt's homemade cake and my mother's flower arrangements from our garden. "It looks lovely," I said carefully. "There's just one tiny problem," Sarah continued, her voice taking on that particular tone I'd learned to recognize over the years. The tone that meant she wanted something. "The venue alone is $35,000, and that's before we even get to the flowers, the dress, the catering, the photographer." Brad spoke up for the first time. "We've been crunching the numbers, Margaret, and we're looking at about $80,000 for the whole thing." The number hung in the air like a balloon. $80,000. Tom's life insurance had left me with $350,000. I'd been living carefully on my pension and Social Security, leaving that money invested, thinking it would be there for emergencies, for my old age, maybe to help Emma with a down payment on a house someday. "That's quite a bit of money," I said slowly. "Well, you only get married once." Sarah laughed, though her eyes weren't laughing, and we thought, with Dad gone, and you having that insurance money just sitting there, you'd want to help Emma start her new life right. That's what family does, right, Mom? Something twisted in my stomach, but I pushed it down. Sarah was my only child. Emma was my only grandchild. "Let me think about it," I said. Sarah's smile tightened. "Of course, Mom, but we need to put down deposits soon. These vendors book up fast." After they left, I sat in Tom's old recliner and looked around the house. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a backyard where Tom had grown tomatoes every summer. It was too big for me now, everyone said so. Sarah had been saying it for months. "You should downsize, Mom. Move into one of those nice senior communities. Less maintenance, more social activities." But this was my home. Our home. I could still feel Tom in every room. The next few weeks, Sarah called every day. She'd send me links to dresses, to flower arrangements, to venues. "Have you thought about it, Mom?" she'd ask. "We really need to know soon." I felt the pressure building, like water behind a dam. Finally, one evening, I called her and said, yes, I would pay for the wedding. Sarah squealed with delight. Oh, Mom, you're the best. Emma is going to be so excited. The next day, I went to the bank and arranged to transfer $80,000 to Sarah's account. My hands shook as I signed the forms. That was nearly a quarter of everything Tom had left me. But that's what family does, I told myself. That's what mothers do. 2 weeks later, I stopped by Sarah's house unannounced. I'd made a casserole, the kind Sarah used to love as a child, and I wanted to surprise her. I used my key, the one she'd given me years ago for emergencies. I heard their voices before I saw them, Sarah and Brad, in the living room, their voices carrying down the hall. Once Mom gives us the $80,000, we can use it for the down payment on the lake house instead, Sarah was saying. I froze in the entryway, the casserole dish cold in my hands. What about the wedding? Brad asked. Josh's parents are paying for it. They already agreed to cover everything. But Mom doesn't need to know that. We'll just tell her we got a great deal or something. What about Emma? She's going to figure it out. Emma won't say anything. She knows which side her bread is buttered on. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they might hear it. And the best part, Sarah continued, is that we can finally get Mom to sell that ridiculous house. Brad, we could get at least $400,000 for it, maybe more. That neighborhood is hot right now. Once we convince her to move into assisted living, we can use that money too. Assisted living is expensive though. Not the place I'm looking at. It's on the south side, nothing fancy, but it's cheap. Under $3,000 a month. We tell Mom it's a nice senior community, and she'll never know the difference until she's already moved in. Then what can she do about it? Brad laughed. You're devious. I love it. I learned from the best. Dad would always say Mom was too soft, too trusting. Well, that's working in our favor now, isn't it? I must have made a sound, because suddenly Sarah appeared in the hallway. Her face went white. Mom, I didn't know you were. How long have you been standing there? I looked at my daughter, this woman I'd given birth to, raised, sacrificed for. I saw her father in the shape of her eyes, but I saw someone else too, someone I didn't recognize. Long enough, I said quietly. I set the casserole dish on the hall table. I won't be staying for dinner after all. I drove home, with my hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles ached. I walked into my house and I sat in Tom's chair and I let myself cry. Not gentle tears, but the kind that shake your whole body. The kind that come from somewhere deep and dark and wounded. That's how Emma found me an hour later. She let herself in with her own key, the one I'd given her when she turned 16. Grandma? Her voice was soft, worried. Grandma, Mom called me. She told me you overheard. I couldn't look at her. Did you know? Yes. Her voice was barely a whisper. I knew. That hurt worse than anything else. Why didn't you tell me? Because I'm a coward. Emma sat down on the floor beside the chair, something she used to do when she was little and wanted to tell me secrets. Because Mom controls everything in my life. She paid for my college. She got me my job through her connections. She bought me my car. I was afraid if I told you, she'd cut me off and I'd be on my own. But it's not right. I know it's not right. Emma's voice cracked. I know, Grandma. I've been sick about it for weeks. Josh's parents are paying for the wedding, they insisted. They're wonderful people, and they're so excited. When Mom came up with this plan to ask you for money, I said no. I said absolutely not. But she said, Emma stopped. She said what? She said you owed it to her. For all the years she took care of you and Dad. For all the times she put her life on hold for you. She made it sound like you were this burden, and this was your way of finally paying her back. I felt something cold and hard settling in my chest. I see, but that's not true, Grandma. You were never a burden. You were the best mother and the best grandmother. You still are. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We sat there in the dimming light of the evening, and I felt something shifting inside me. I thought about Tom, about what he would say. Tom had been a gentleman, a kind man, but he'd also been fiercely protective of the people he loved. Your grandfather once told me, I said slowly, that the worst thing you can do is let someone take advantage of your kindness. Because it doesn't just hurt you, it hurts them too. It teaches them that using people is okay, that love is something you can manipulate. Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. I need to think, I said. I need to figure out what to do. Whatever you decide, Emma said, I'm on your side. I should have been from the start. After Emma left, I sat in the dark for a long time. Then I turned on the lamp and I got out my laptop, the one Josh had fixed for me, and I started researching. I learned about revocable trusts. I learned about estate planning. I learned about how to protect my assets. And I learned something else too. Something that made me sit up straight in Tom's chair with a growing sense of possibility. I learned that I didn't have to accept this, that I could choose differently. The next morning, I called my bank and stopped the transfer. The money hadn't gone through yet. $80,000, still safe in my account. Then I called a lawyer I found through the AARP website. Her name was Patricia Chen, and she had kind eyes and a firm handshake. I told her everything. I want to protect what my husband left me, I said. And I want to make sure the people who actually care about me are taken care of. Patricia nodded. I can help you with that, Margaret. Over the next 3 weeks, Patricia and I worked together. We set up a trust. We made sure my will was ironclad, and we made some other arrangements too. I put my house on the market, but not to downsize. I was ready to move, but on my own terms. I sold it for $425,000 to a lovely young couple expecting their first baby. I told them about the tomatoes Tom used to grow in the backyard, and they promised to plant some in his memory. I took some of that money, and I bought a small condo in the same building where my friend Janet lived, overlooking Green Lake. 2 bedrooms, a little balcony, a view of the water. It cost $200,000, and I paid cash. Then I did something I'd been dreaming about for years. I called my sister Linda in Arizona. Linda was 75, widowed like me, and she'd been begging me to visit for ages. Linda, I said, how would you like to take that trip to Ireland we always talked about? There was a pause. Then, Margaret, are you serious? Dead serious. My treat. We left in September. We spent 3 weeks driving through the Irish countryside, staying in bed and breakfasts, drinking tea, and laughing more than I'd laughed in years. We went to the cliffs of Moher and stood there with the wind in our hair, looking out at the endless Atlantic. I felt free in a way I couldn't remember feeling since before Tom got sick. While I was gone, Sarah called my cell phone 17 times. She left voicemails, each one more frantic than the last. Mom, the transfer didn't go through. There must be some mistake. Mom, please call me back. We need to talk. Mom, you're being ridiculous. This is for Emma. Mom, if you don't call me back, I'm going to assume something happened to you. I didn't call her back. Not yet. When I returned home in early October, there was a letter waiting for me. From Patricia Chen's office. Everything was finalized. I invited Emma to my new condo for dinner. Just Emma, not Sarah or Brad. She came, looking nervous, and her eyes widened when she saw my place. Grandma, this is beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm very happy here. We sat on my little balcony, eating the pasta I'd made, watching the joggers circle the lake. I need to tell you something, I said. And I need you to listen without interrupting. Emma nodded. I've set up a trust. It's specifically for your education and your future. There's $150,000 in it. You can use it for a down payment on a house when you're ready. You can use it to start a business. You can use it to go back to school if you want. But there are conditions. What conditions? You can't access it until you're 30, unless it's for education, and your mother can't touch it. Ever. It's yours and only yours. I've set up the trust so that she can't manipulate you out of it. I also put your name on my will as my personal representative, not your mother. When I'm gone, you'll be the one who handles my affairs, and you need to promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll stand up for yourself. Promise me you won't let people use your kindness against you. Not your mother, not anyone. Your grandfather taught me that loving someone doesn't mean letting them hurt you. I should have remembered that sooner. Emma was crying. Grandma, I don't deserve this. You do. You came to me. You were honest, even though it was hard. That takes courage. What about Mom? Your mother will receive exactly $5 in my will. That's not a mistake. That's to make it clear that I didn't forget about her. I made a choice. Patricia assures me that this way, She can't contest it. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Is that enough? To leave her $5? It's more than she left me, I said. She left me feeling used and betrayed and foolish. But you know what? I'm not foolish. I'm 73 years old, and I'm starting a new chapter. I have my condo, I have my friends, I have my pension and my savings. And I have you. If you want to be part of my life, of course I do, Grandma. More than anything, we sat there watching the sun set over the lake, painting the water in shades of orange and pink and gold. There's something else I need to tell you, I said. I've started volunteering at the library downtown, reading to children twice a week. It reminds me of when you were little, and I'd read to you for hours. Do you remember? I remember everything, Emma said. You made every story come alive. The confrontation with Sarah came 2 weeks later. She showed up at my condo unannounced, her face tight with anger. What the hell is this, Mom? She waved some papers at me. I went to your old house, and the new owners told me you sold it. You didn't even tell me, and then I find out you bought this place? What were you thinking? I was thinking it was my house to sell and my money to spend. We had plans. We were going to help you move somewhere nice, somewhere with activities and care. You mean somewhere cheap on the south side, so you could pocket the difference. Sarah's face went white. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You were going to take my money for a wedding that's already paid for. You were going to sell my house and put me in the cheapest facility you could find. You were going to treat me like an inconvenience, a burden, something to be managed and disposed of. That's not. I was trying to help. No, you were trying to help yourself. And I'm done with it. What does that mean? It means I've made arrangements. Everything is set up. Emma is taken care of. You're not getting what you expected, and that's final. Sarah's shock turned to fury. You're punishing me for trying to look out for you? I'm not punishing you, Sarah. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference. Your father tried to teach you that people aren't tools to be used. That family means caring for each other, not preying on each other. You didn't learn that lesson, and I can't teach it to you now. But I can make sure you don't use me anymore. You're a selfish old woman, Sarah spat. You always were. Dad gave you everything, and you gave nothing back. That was when I knew for certain I'd made the right choice. Because that wasn't grief talking or disappointment. That was who Sarah really was. Underneath all the pleasantries and the mom, you look wonderful and the carefully chosen gifts on Mother's Day. Your father loved me, I said quietly. And I loved him. And we built a good life together. I'm sorry you can't see that. I'm sorry you've become someone who sees love as a transaction. But I can't fix that for you. You have to fix it yourself. Don't count on seeing Emma again, Sarah threatened. I'll make sure she knows what you've done. Emma already knows. She was here when I explained everything. She's 23, Sarah, not 8. She can make her own choices. And she's chosen to have a relationship with me, without your permission. Sarah left, slamming the door behind her so hard that my neighbor Janet poked her head out to make sure I was okay. The weeks that followed were strange. It felt like grieving, but not for someone who died, for someone who had never really existed. The daughter I thought I'd raised, the daughter who loved me and cared about me, had maybe never been there at all, or maybe she had been once, and somewhere along the way, I'd lost her. Or she'd lost herself. But there were good things, too. Emma came over every Sunday. We'd have brunch on my balcony, and she'd tell me about her week, about her wedding plans. Josh's parents were lovely people who genuinely wanted to get to know me. They invited me to dinner, and we laughed and shared stories about Emma and Josh as children. Janet and I started a book club with some other women in the building. We met every Thursday evening, drank wine, and talked about everything and nothing. One of the women, Dorothy, was 86 and had just started taking painting classes. Life doesn't end at 60 or 70 or 80, Dorothy told me. It just becomes more of what you make it. And you can make it good or you can make it bitter. Your choice. I chose good. In November, I got an email from Brad. Just Brad, not Sarah. Margaret, I need to apologize. What we planned to do to you was wrong. I let Sarah convince me it was okay because it was family business and I should stay out of it. But it wasn't okay. I'm sorry. You deserved better. You still do. I stared at that email for a long time. Then I wrote back. Thank you for the apology. I accept it. I hope you and Sarah can work on being better people. For your own sake, not mine. Emma got married in June, just like she'd planned. It was at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel, beautiful and elegant. Josh's parents paid for everything and never once made anyone feel like they owed them anything. Sarah and Brad were there, sitting stiffly in their seats, barely speaking to anyone. But I was there too, in the front row, wearing a dress Emma had helped me pick out. Dusty blue, tea-length, with little pearls on the collar. Emma had asked me to do a reading during the ceremony, and my voice only shook a little as I read Mary Oliver's poem Wild Geese. You do not have to be good, I read. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. When I sat down, Emma caught my eye and mouthed, "Thank you," and I knew she wasn't just thanking me for the reading. After the ceremony, at the reception, an old friend of Tom's came up to me. "Margaret, you look wonderful. There's something different about you." "I feel different," I said. And it was true. I felt lighter, younger, free. That night, back in my condo, I stood on my balcony and looked out at the lake. The water was dark and calm, reflecting the lights from the city. I thought about Tom, about how he'd be proud of me for standing up for myself, how he'd laugh at the idea of me and Linda in Ireland, getting lost on country roads and singing in pubs. I thought about the path not taken, the one where I'd given Sarah the $80,000, where I'd let her sell my house and put me in that cheap facility on the south side, where I'd have become smaller and smaller, more and more diminished, until I was just a convenient, manageable problem to be solved. But I hadn't taken that path. I'd chosen differently. I was 73 years old. I had a beautiful home, a granddaughter I loved who loved me back, friends who made me laugh, money in the bank, and a whole life still ahead of me. I'd survived my daughter's betrayal, and I'd come out stronger. Some people might say I was bitter, that I should have forgiven Sarah, should have given her another chance. And maybe someday I would. But right now, I was choosing me. I was choosing my own life, my own happiness, my own dignity. And you know what? It felt good. A few weeks ago, I got a text from Sarah. Just 3 words. "I miss you." I stared at those words for a long time. I thought about responding, about opening that door again. But then I remembered standing in her hallway with that casserole dish, hearing her laugh about how she was going to trick me, manipulate me, use my trust against me. I deleted the text. Maybe that makes me a bad mother. Maybe that makes me unforgiving and hard. But I've been good my whole life. I've been soft and kind and accommodating. And where did it get me? It got me used. So now I'm something else. I'm strong. I'm boundaried. I'm self-protective. And I'm happy. Last month, Emma told me she and Josh were thinking about starting a family soon. And when we do, Grandma, I want my kids to know you. The real you, the strong you. I want them to learn what you taught me. That kindness doesn't mean being a doormat. That love doesn't mean letting people hurt you. That it's never too late to choose yourself. I'm 73 years old, and I'm just beginning to understand what that means. To choose yourself. Not in a selfish way, but in a survival way. In a dignity way. In a, this is my one life, and I get to decide how to live it way. Tom left me that life insurance money so I could be taken care of. So I could be comfortable and safe and happy. And that's exactly what I'm doing with it. Just not in the way Sarah expected. I'm taking care of myself. I'm being comfortable in my own home, my own space. I'm staying safe from people who would use my love against me. And I'm happy, really, truly happy, for the first time in years. That's what family is supposed to do. Not use you, not manipulate you, not see you as a resource to be managed, but actually care, actually love, actually show up. Emma shows up. Josh shows up. Linda shows up. Janet and Dorothy and the women in my book club show up. Sarah doesn't. And that's her loss, not mine. I'm sitting on my balcony right now, watching the sun set over Green Lake. I have a glass of wine in my hand and a good book waiting on the table. Tomorrow, Janet and I are going to a matinee. Next month, Emma and I are taking a weekend trip to Victoria. And next year? Who knows? Maybe Linda and I will go to Scotland. Maybe I'll finally take that painting class with Dorothy. The point is, I get to decide. For the first time in my life, I get to decide what comes next. And that is the greatest gift Tom could have given me. Not the money itself, but the freedom it bought me. The freedom to say no. The freedom to choose. The freedom to live. I'm 73 years old, and my life is just beginning. And that, I think, is exactly how it should be.